Welcome back to Capitol Tonight on a Monday. In this week's Lobbying Texas segment, a little Lobbying 101. There's an advocacy group that's dedicated to helping lobbyists through the process, and the leadership says ethics is at the top of their list. Earlier, I sat down with the man who heads up the effort. Jack Gullahorn is here with us, the President and General Counsel for the Professional Advocacy Association of Texas. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Let me ask you, today we want to really talk about just the business of lobbying at the state capitol, because a lot of people who don't follow everything that happens at the capitol might not have a real good idea of the process. Just generally, how important are lobbyists to the process of an institution that meets every other year?
Well, I think you would expect me to say that lobbyists are absolutely critical, but if you think about it, with a legislature that truly is a part-time legislature, because that's what we've decided we want in our state, you've got people that are coming in for 140 days every 2 years, and they're faced with, 6,000 bills that they're going to try to sort through in the course of that 5-month period. And it's really impossible for us to expect people to understand all the nuances of all the things they're going to face. So a lobbyist is somebody that is there for a couple of purposes. One of them is to educate, and the other one is to try to make sure that they are a good guide through the process.
And your organization, PAAT, is there to really help lobbyists who have been doing this for a long time, but also brand spanking new lobbyists. What are some of the services that you provide? How did this start to have this advocacy group?
We started this organization about 10 years ago because there really wasn't a singular voice for the lobby, and there never will be a singular voice for the lobby. But from an organized perspective, it was important that we be able to try to do a couple of things. One of them is to let people know what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And the other is to try to raise the ethical bar as high as we could. The folks that choose to join our association, and let me tell you, it's not a choice that everybody makes, but the folks that choose to join our association are making a commitment to try to learn an awful lot about the law, the nuances of the law, the lobby law, and then the processes in the House and the Senate. We try to educate on that as much as we can, let people know what's happening with regard to the Ethics Commission, the legislature, what's going on federally that may affect them down here. So it's a continuing battle to try to stay up with all the information that's out there.
What are some of the common mistakes maybe that a lobbyist, particularly somebody new to lobbying, might make that your organization can point to and say, hey, this is maybe the way to actually handle this?
And this is where we get into those nuances. There are triggers that cause people to have to register. Everybody's a lobbyist.
Yeah, if I have an issue and I go up there, I'm a lobbyist.
But if you think about it, you lobby for a pay raise. I lobby my wife for a new deer rifle. People lobby their folks at church to change the coffee, whatever it might be. In this context, we're lobbying policymakers. And a lot of people don't think about the fact that they are really lobbyists. Almost every organization you can think of has somebody that represents them in some capacity. Every issue is going to have people on one side and usually both sides in many contexts. So as we go forward in trying to think about what are the common mistakes, it's probably not knowing what's required of you in Texas. We have a pretty robust lobby law. It's a strong registration law, it's a strong reporting law. It is a permissive law in terms of expenditures, but we have to report. And if you don't report, you're subject to serious misdemeanors and fines and complaints at the Ethics Commission.
Is it difficult to find this information, and maybe that's where a little bit of where you can step in to help guide and sort through this law?
Absolutely. One of the things we're addressing in the Ethics Commission Sunset Bill that'll be this session is trying to simplify the law so that folks will have an easier understanding of when they have to register, what they have to report when they register, and how to deal with all the little fine-tuning that's out there that can get you into a lot of trouble.
What would you say about the way you mentioned we're a part-time legislature? Is that part of also the issue? Like, how would lobbying be different if this was a full-time legislature like many other states?
I'm not sure that our profession is going to be a lot different. From a lobbying perspective, it's a full-time legislature. We are busy when you're in the session. You're busy with your client's interest for the session. As soon as they're out of session, you're busy with your client's interest for the next session, for what's going to be happening during the interim. It is just not as continual as the federal level is. or in other states that have ongoing legislatures all the time. It's incredibly intense for 140 days. That's the main difference. I think if we were not limited in time, then the lobbying business would be a lot less of a spike than it is in Texas. But you know, that's part of the game, and we're glad to participate any way we can. And
we appreciate your opportunity to maybe quiz you a little bit here on Lobbying 101, as I like to call it, and I know that you guys will call it that too. The group is Professional Advocacy Association of Texas. Jack Gullahorn, thanks very much for being with us.
Thanks for having us, Paul.
You bet.